Hey everyone, this might be a long one, so I will put timestamps in the bottom if you just want to skip the channeled part of this message and go to the reading. I will say, first and foremost, that this is my second take on this reading, so I do have the cards. I'm going to clarify a little bit more, but I already have the cards out because I already did all of this, basically. not quite all of it, but so that's my first message, is that I think there's a possibility here that some of you might be dealing with a message that was never delivered or never reached you, or something you sent that never reached the other person. Take it if it feels right. And I mean, there's probably some divine intervention involved in that, because I will tell you that not only did I record this and I watched it record, I can see the timer right up above, right? I recorded over a half an hour. Not only did I record it, and then it just stopped working, right? And I thought my space was full, whatever. It disappeared. So explain that to me. I don't know how that happens. I'm not using an old device. It's fairly new. I have no idea how to explain that. All right? But I'm taking it as a message for you, not so much me, because I feel like there's so much going on that there's no way that this was just for nothing, right? There's so many messages. I'm a little overwhelmed. I might make this 2 videos. By now you'll know, probably, if it's 2 videos because of the length, or maybe not. Okay, I'll stop rambling. I really need some lip gloss, and I have no idea where any is. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'll be right back. Okay. I don't know why I said lip gloss. I don't really use lip gloss or lipstick. I use chapstick. So, hardly ever do I use anything else. Okay, so let me just take you on a journey. This was supposed to be a Taurus reading. And then I was going to do Scorpio after. And now it's a collective reading, because that was my executive decision. That's what I feel is right. So then, and if you are a Scorpio or perhaps a Pisces, or dealing with one or the other, you might want to listen to this part particularly closely. I had a dream. Excuse me. And I take them very seriously. Because that's, I mean, it's where I get a lot of my hits. And the other place I get a lot of my hits is in the shower, and water in general. So in my dream, I was in the shower, which is an odd dream in itself. I don't normally dream of, like, mundane. I'm a Pisces, so I don't really dream about, like, mundane things. Anyway, we'll just leave it there. So then a Scorpio that I know showed up in my shower, okay? And this is, I don't know if this matters or not. It's someone I dated a couple times, quite a long time ago now, 15, maybe 20 years ago. Yeah, somewhere between 15 and 20 years ago. And when I say dated, I mean we went out, I think, twice. God, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. We're still connected on social media, things like this. No bad blood whatsoever. And I will say that from my perspective, it is, if I had to categorize it, sort of a one that got away situation for me. It was just one of those things, like, we were both coming out of bad relationships. We kind of bonded over that. And then neither one of us pursued each other kind of after our second date. and then, you know, ended up with other people. So, I mean, that's pretty characteristic of me as well. I'm different than most people. I have never been the type to be desperate for a relationship or desperate to date anybody. It doesn't matter how much, you know, I like them. I'm quick to walk away. I have an Aquarius Venus, so I'm quick to walk away if something's off, like the timing, or if I think that person's not ready for a relationship, etc., etc. And that was the case in this particular instance. And I mean, for me as well, because I was coming out of one of the longest, you know, relationships of my life. It ended poorly. So it probably wasn't the right time for me. Okay, it doesn't matter. So that was a situation there. I'm telling you because I feel like some of this or all of this might resonate. So back to the shower. Once again, I'm weird. A good way to get me, to hook me, one of the only ways really, is conversation. I'm very sapiosexual. And my daughter would know this. Her and her friends are like experts on all these different categories and things like this. But like for me, I have to feel emotionally bonded to somebody, and I have to have that intellectual stimulation. So I'm prefacing that because it sounds mundane, but it's how you hook me. So we're in the shower, and I'm with this Scorpio. Totally non-sexual, by the way. Nothing really sexual about it at all to me. It was just more weird that they were in the shower with me. So we're talking about tarot, and that's my point. Like, you want to get my attention? Yeah, let's talk about tarot. Or anything, you know, esoteric. So, or, you know, psychology, things like this. So we're talking about tarot, and I don't really remember much of the conversation except, and I think this is by design, except this person exclaiming something about a baby, like, a baby! Okay? And she's like reading the cards, and I'm looking at the cards as well, and I'm like, what? Like, that was the whole conversation, was a baby, and me going, what? Because I'm looking at the cards. The only card I do remember is the Two of Wands, and to me, none of the other cards, whatever they were about a baby. So I'm looking at this like, what are you talking about? The importance of that, I feel, is that there was a gross miscommunication, right, in this situation. There, you know, I'm looking at this completely different. There was no evidence of a baby, so I feel like this is something that I needed to relay. And like I said, you could be dealing with a Scorpio or a Pisces, because I'm a Pisces and I was there too. And on top of that, I also wanted to point out Pisces Mercury, okay? Because this kept coming up as I was trying to prepare for my next reading. And I kept feeling, I don't know how to explain this, but I kept feeling Pisces Mercury energy. Okay, well, it's like word salad, like bad poetry. I hate it. And I'm a Pisces, okay? But my Mercury's in Aries. I like clear, direct, understandable communication, and to me Pisces Mercury is just a mess and it makes no sense. And I will add that Libra Mercury and Gemini Mercury feel similar to me, and all three of those signs are what I would call dual signs. They're the indecisive signs, two-faced, some might even say, especially in the case of Gemini. No offense if you have these placements. I'm not demonizing anyone with these placements. My daughter has a Libra Mercury, I believe. Pretty sure. It is frustrating, though. It is exasperating because these people can be indecisive, they can be confusing, and I don't know what's going on in their brain, but it doesn't make sense to me, okay? And it doesn't come out any more understandable. Okay. So it can be wishy-washy. It can also be people-pleasing, okay? I mean, it doesn't even have to be Mercury. You could be dealing with somebody who is a Gemini, Libra, or a Pisces, okay? And all these people, in general, if they have a sun in that sign, might also be people pleasers, okay? And what I mean is, if you were to be talking to them about, say, having a baby, escalating a relationship, and they, you know, didn't necessarily want that, they might sit there and hum along with you and not along. And I mean, in the case of Pisces, they might not even freaking hear you because they're off in space or something. And, you know, Gemini, Libra, I don't know, I can't speak to that as much, but it's very, very similar, where I feel that someone with those types of energies might tend to just go along with whatever you're saying, either because they don't take you seriously, or they're afraid to say no, or they're not even listening to you in the first place. Okay? So, putting all of this together, I feel like there's sort of a warning here as we get into Pisces Mercury. Regardless of whether you're entertaining a pregnancy or not, I feel it's very important that you communicate very clearly with other people, especially about important issues, especially, you know, about relationships, anything important, anything that's going to impact your life, right? And your decision, your own personal decisions going forward. And, you know, make sure they're listening, ask the hard questions, make them answer you. And that's, I guess, my best advice on that. Because I do feel that there's a risk here being highlighted to me of a miscommunication, and it could be something as serious as whether or not to become parents, which is a huge thing. And I also, I'll take the time now to say this, the songs that I got leading up to this were Dua Lipa. I believe the song's called Levitating. I forgot to even look it up, and I didn't look up the lyrics. I don't really need to, because the whole gist of the song makes perfect sense to me. It's sort of like Pisces Mercury, but it can also be an energy of just, you know, I don't want to say foolishly, but just, you know, without a care, falling into something, whether that be love, an affair, you know, a partnership, whatever, okay? And I feel like the key word there is levitating. And as much as I am, admittedly, a hopeless romantic and an eternal optimist, I mean, I'm stupid optimistic, I'm a Pisces, and my sun is in the 9th house, which is Sagittarius, alright? So I'm a crazy person that somehow tends to make my crazy ideas a reality. So I don't have time for the negative Nancy's and the, you know, whatever, the negative talk, because no one knows what they're talking about. If I want to make something happen, I will. And I know this, and I've got a long list of reasons for me to believe this. So, I believe in miracles. I believe in love. I believe in the impossible. And so, you know, levitate all you want. However, when it comes to the big things, I feel like there's a need to ground here. There's a need to be in reality. There's a need to check into realism a little bit. And like I said, make sure you're communicating clearly. Make sure that the other person is being probed with questions and responding back with clear communication that you understand. Okay? And I can't remember why I was even going to share this story. Oh, Now I do. Okay, so what kind of all brought it together for me, as a side note for any of you who are resonating with the pregnancy story, or just in general, I mean, this might be related to something else for you, but I felt very strongly it was related to this, because I was very nervous to talk about this. I don't want to give anybody medical advice. I don't want to give anybody life advice necessarily, okay? You make your own choices. Whether or not to be a parent is one of the biggest decisions you'll make. So please don't let me impact you. But when I was stressing about this topic and how I was going to talk about it, I was driving, I was zoning out, you know, trying to figure it out, trying to, you know, back and forth. Like, it's just so delicate to me. So the radio was on. So in this case, I actually heard the song in real life, not just in my head. So the radio was on, and Led Zeppelin, Ramble On, was playing. Maybe you want to look up that song, look up the lyrics. It might resonate in ways that I don't necessarily understand or didn't look into. All right. So it's playing, I'm ignoring it, I'm just thinking. And then the volume went up, which called my attention, right? The volume didn't actually go up, it went up in my awareness, if that makes sense. So I was guided to hear this part of the song more loudly to get my attention. And that part of the song is where he says, now the time is now. All right? And that brought it all together for me. And I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I guess because I understand. Shit. All right. So, I feel very strongly that someone, and I had a client, it was a while back now, but this topic came up with a client, a personal client, personal reading. I do personal readings. It's in the description box if you're interested in that. But one of my clients had this come up for her. So it's definitely something that, it's a thing. And what's unfortunate is that women don't talk about this. And I actually, what I'm talking about is menopause, fertility issues, when to have a baby, you know, the decision to become a parent and age, all right? Running out of time is basically what I'm talking about. And for all of us, it's different, whether by choice or not, right? So one thing I will share is that I had my daughter when I was 30. I was 29 when I found out I was having her. I'm sorry, I gotta take this off my wrist. I hurt myself, you guys. Which was a whole other thing. I'm just gonna skip that. It just, that whole story about hurting myself instilled this part of the message, actually, because I wanted to do this before my body prevented me from doing it. So after I hurt myself, I was like, okay, well, in 2 days, I'm going to be really hit. And of course, this is the part of me that got hurt the most. I was like, I might not be able to shuffle, so I better get this done before I'm unable to, right? So there's a parallel there, right, with reproductive health and fertility. So anyway, I had my daughter when I was 30, and at that time, and I know this sounds ridiculous to probably some of you, depending upon your own age, at the time I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to be becoming a mom at 30, like, this might be my last chance. And I mean, for some, that's a reality. That is a reality for some. But me now, knowing what I know now, it's like crazy. I had like 50 other opportunities. I mean, not really, but I had many, many, many opportunities after that if I had made that choice too, but I didn't. My daughter was a surprise. I actually, having kids was not in my plans. Getting married was not in my plans. Once again, I'm different. I'm not like other people. So that's another reason why this is so delicate to me, because I wasn't that girl growing up dreaming about my dream wedding and all the kids I was going to have and how I was just going to be this, gorgeous, beautiful mother. That wasn't me at all. I'm much more high priestessy that way. I mean, I wanted to be a doctor. Like, that was my plan. Like, single life or not, whatever. Like, it didn't really matter to me. Like, my dreams were very cerebral, career-oriented. But when I found out that my daughter was coming, no question, I made that decision. I never even questioned that. I'm 100% full choice, but pro-choice, by the way. But fully, like, in it from that moment. Like, okay, I'm going to be a mom now. And this might be my last chance to be a mom, so this is exciting. And then, fast forward till, friends of mine are in their 40s having their first kid and all these things. I mean, a lot of people aren't having their first kid now until about 40. But for me, 35-ish felt like where I should cut it off, right? At the time. So there's that. And then another thing I wanted to just mention along the way, in my 30s, probably, 33, 35-ish, I started getting asked all the time at the doctor, like, if I'm still having cycles, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sorry if you're a guy sitting through this and you're like, what the fuck is happening? I apologize. But, I mean, this is for you too, because men know even less about this than women do. So I started getting asked all the time, like, are you still having cycles? And I'm like, yeah, like the first time, like, yeah. But after it happened like 2 or 3 times, I was like, yeah, like, I'm not 50. Like, are you looking at me? Like, you have the correct birth date, right? Like, I'm in my 30s, buddy. Like, what are you talking about? Right? So I brought this up, to my social group, what have you. And one person, I can't remember who it was, one woman chimed in and she was like, well, yeah, like, it's actually happening more and more. Women are going into menopause earlier and, la, 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 la. Well, once again, at one point in time, I planned on being a doctor. So I'm a fairly well-trained research scientist. So I looked into it, and yeah, it turns out that high cortisol levels and trauma actually can lead to, or are related to, early menopause. And what do we have in this society, or the world today? Increased trauma, increased cortisol as a result of just prolonged stress of living in the world, right? I won't go into all of that, but it's just a fact of reality. So yeah, wow, right? Not something I was aware of. I mean, my family, genetically, I feel obviously there's a link genetically as well. Like my mom, obviously she's was done at a certain point, but that was not a natural occurrence. I never went through any symptoms of menopause whatsoever. And I don't know, it just seems like my family, how do I put this? My family tends to be fertile for a long time, right? Or, relatively speaking, hormonally speaking. All right, so I'll end it there. But, so, that's something I think someone is struggling with. My best advice would be to see a fertility specialist, see your doctor. Like if you think you're running out of time, you can confirm, you know, maybe not to the day, but you can figure out where you're at on the timeline of running out of time, okay? And on top of that, there's always another way, right, to become a parent, to become a mom, if that's what you want to do. And I don't know, I wish I had something more empowering or concrete, but like, just my best, you know, guidance on that would be to do your research, consult doctors, because there's always a way. And that's what I told my client a while back, because that was exactly the issue for her, like, you know, running out of time or not being able, or, you know, all these different issues that come into play. And I was like, I'm gonna get emotional again. I was like, there's always a way. Like if you're called to be a mother, there's always a way, whether genetically or non-genetically, right? There's adoption. And certainly she's a candidate for adoption. She's a rock star. One of the few people that I know that I really look up to, really admire. So anyway, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. But yeah, and then one thing I also wanted to talk about, I don't know if this helps you, but this is another thing that came into my mind as I was thinking about all of these things with the communication and the age issues and things like this. And like, I personally, about 1.5 years ago, and I don't even want to tell this story, but I'm going to, because I feel guided to, because I feel like something might resonate, or there's some reason I'm supposed to tell you. Something in here is relevant, I feel. I don't really want to tell. I didn't want to tell any of these stories. But here we are. So, about 1.5 years ago, and like I said, like I feel like I'm done. I've felt like I have been done. I don't desire more children. However, unfortunately, I tend to date younger. So I was involved with this guy, right, who was younger than me, no children, and on top of that, a long-distance relationship, okay? So very stressful, lots of obstacles, but once again, I'm a Pisces, sun in my 9th house. There's nothing I can't magic up, right? I feel. So anyway, so we, throughout the course of so many conversations, he had, I mean, so many, like I said, so many complications going on too. Like he was having all these struggles about, you know, timing in his life to an extent, and, you know, where he was going, la, 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 la. And me being an Aries Mercury, right, and having like zero tolerance for indecision or excuses, was like, well, it's not that hard. What do you want? What do you want in your life? What do you see for your future? Once you figure that out, you go forward toward it. And I'll just share that with you, my personal belief here. There's certainly other formulas for this, but once you decide what you want in your life, for example, do you want a family? Do you want to be a father, a mother, what have you? Well, okay, then that's super freaking easy. What do you need? What does that look like? What does your life need to look like? You need to move toward that, right? Like, quick little story. I might have told this before somewhere else, but probably not recently. I was engaged to someone years ago who, once again, I didn't want kids at that time, and so the conversation came up, and I was like, well, I don't want that. He did, right? And I mean, I was trying to break it off with him because I don't want to interfere with anybody's, you know, life plan, with what they want, with their destiny. I don't want to deprive anyone of being a father just because I don't want to be a mother, right? So I was like trying to break it off, and whatever, you know, his whole line was like, he wanted, you know, well, his decision was to be with me, and that's what he, you know, that was what mattered, blah, blah, blah. And if I didn't want kids, then that was what his future looked like. Very, very sweet, right? Very sweet. However, and this guy, this was one of the few people significantly older than me by, I think, 6 years or something. And I took this all in during that time and was like, okay, so you're telling me, right, like, you want to have this family and this is what the kind of life you want, whatever. But I'm looking around, right, and it's like a Tuesday night, and there's like 6, 7 people over, and just alcohol everywhere. Like, it was like a freaking party in his compound of a house all the time, right? Just drinking. He's passing out on the floor. I'm putting pillows under his head because he's passing out on the wood floor of his office. He's a business owner. You know, and then I'm watching him sleep through alarms for like 2 hours in the morning, like clients calling. He's supposed to be up at meetings, not make, like, this is a lifestyle, okay? A lifestyle that I didn't even relate to as someone significantly younger than him and not wanting a family. And I'm looking at the totality of, you know, what he's saying. And my point is that if you want a certain lifestyle for yourself in the future, you need to start making your lifestyle now look like that. Manifestation 101. Act as if. You want to be a responsible adult, you want to be father material, you want to be husband material, mother material, whatever the case may be, you need to start acting like it now. So make your life look like you're ready, right? Buy the house. Get the dog. I don't know. What does it look like? Get the job. Save up the money. I don't know. Get the SUV. Get the station wagon. I don't know what you do. But what does it look like to you? That's what matters. Get your shit together and set it up, right? Okay. So this is what I'm telling 1.5 years ago guy. Like, it's not that hard. Like, what do you want? What is, you know, what's your vision? Where do you want to live? Do you want to live in the stinky, loud, annoying city? Do you want to live in the concrete, you know, fake grass suburbs? Do you want to live in the country and, you know, look at the stars and the moon and hear the wilderness? What do you want? So my bias is pretty obvious there. But it's not that hard. It's not that hard. So that was the conversation, and I mean, what was one of my favorite conversations, because he came back at me just as hard, and I love that shit, and laid it all out like, yeah, this is what I want, and this is blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, it wasn't an argument at all, but it was productive conversation, I felt, which was good. So the problem for me was that in that conversation, okay, and this is after he has talked about our wedding, and we both have discussed feeling like the other is the one and whatever. And I mean, we both had talked about, like I said, it was long distance, so we had both at that point talked about moving, him moving, me moving. I think we both, I mean, I don't know, I speak for myself. I didn't really want to stay here, so I was ready to move. I don't care where. But I think he maybe wanted to move as well. I think he needs to move. He needed to move. It's a good thing. Regardless of where we are now, which we're not together now, because in that conversation, well, there's other reasons too, but in that conversation, he told me that he did want to be a father, that he did want to have kids, and that was problematic for me, because I mean, as soon as he said that, I was like, all right, well, I guess we're gonna go, you know, we better start getting excited, we better start getting started, right? Because tick tock, I don't have much time. Like, if it's going to be me, then we need to get going. Because I don't know how much time I have. I don't know if I can physically. I don't know. There's so many questions. I would have to have seen a fertility specialist, probably multiple doctors, to get through that, if at all, right? But I was willing to try, despite the fact that I didn't really want that for me. I didn't want to deprive him. Does that make sense? So the point is that I've been there, and then that fell apart in part because he just wasn't ready. And I don't know, I mean, it's a problem. It's a problem in our day and age, because once again, as time moves on, women are earlier and earlier hitting menopause, apparently. I don't know if I ever will, but it's a thing that's happening, apparently. And then, but people in general are prolonging the decision, even, or, you know, even knowing like what they want out of their life, whether or not they want to have kids. So, I mean, I don't know. It's like women are going to have to start dating old dudes, I guess. Like, I don't know. It sucks because that's not really my thing. Like, I do tend to date younger, which, I mean, that sucks in some ways too. Like in this scenario, right? When you end up with somebody who has no fucking clue what they want, or does but doesn't know when, right? And it's like, well, I don't know, but TikTok. So point is, these are real issues. It doesn't really have anything to do with tarot, but I did feel like it was a good time, since they are coming up and they are coming at me, to recognize that. And if you are somebody who is feeling like the clock is running out for you, and this is your, you know, one of the callings for you in life, to be a mother, it can absolutely be done one way or another, okay? Don't lose faith. But don't settle for someone else. That's the last piece of advice I had. Don't settle for whoever just because you're running out of time, right? Like, I mean, certainly you can do what you want, but how do I say? Deciding to be a mother, in my humble opinion, is completely different than deciding who you're going to be with, marry, whatever the case may be. Okay? These are two different things. You should never have a kid to save a marriage, or a kid to keep a person with you. You should have a kid because you want to have a kid, because that kid is permanent. Husbands can be divorced like that. So, and they can divorce you like that. So that's a real serious commitment. Not that marriage isn't, but you can't divorce a kid as easily as you can a spouse. All right? So that was the last piece of advice I wanted to share with you. It was actually advice given to me by one of my best friends when I was pregnant, dealing with a piece of shit. And she told me, you know, I'm a mess. And she told me, like, you need to make all of your decisions outside of him, regardless of him. Delete him from the equation. You make your decisions for you and the baby. And I mean, I basically had already done that, but it was meaningful and it stuck with me, and I'm now passing that along to you. Sorry for dragging this out on that topic, but it's something I feel very strongly about. So let's move on to the reading. I'm going to try to read this as generally as possible, so that it applies to anyone regardless of your situation. I don't know if this has anything to do with the things that I channeled, okay? I feel like it's iffy. So let's just start. I did a Celtic cross, In the heart of the matter, I got the Eight of Cups coming out sideways, crossed by the moon. Very clearly to me, some of you are dealing with a coming, or I should say returning. Some of you are dealing with a going. Some of you are dealing with the debate on like a should I stay or should I go. With the moon there, there's obviously a lot of fear or uncertainty, or potentially, if this is somebody in your life, debating on coming or going, leaving you, coming back to you. Potentially you are completely unaware of this situation, okay? And I'm just going to leave it there. So we're dealing with Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups, I mean, it could be not even a relationship. So let's go there. It could not even be a relationship. It could just be leaving, because technically the Eight of Cups is walking away from what you've always known. So it can be leaving your hometown. It can be leaving, you know, somewhere you lived for a long time, traveling, moving. I do have the Four of Wands over here as well. I have the Three of Wands. I have the Eight of Cups again and the clarification. So for some of you, the World. I have the World. Forgot about that. So this could definitely be moving. It could be a fear of moving, or it could just be worried that you're going down the wrong path. Regardless of what's going on here, that could be the case. All right. There's a questioning here of what path to follow. There's a questioning here of whether to go or not, whether to come back or not, depending on what the scenario is. Okay. So in the foundation, so what we're talking about here is the World and the King of Swords. Now, this could very well just be a decision being made. King of Cords. Interesting. Cords. King of Swords to me is often a card of decision, decisive action, right? Taking control, making a decision. And the World could be a decision to change your space, to travel the world, right? But I do have to say, and this is a really weird message, but the first thing I got on this when I put these down was some weird vibe of like someone, like one thing was a change of loyalty, and that almost came out of my mouth without even thinking it. So I did feel like something about a change of loyalty, but also this weird sense of like freedom. Like I feel like someone might be actually ending a cycle of other people controlling them. Super weird, but it's giving me like a Britney Spears vibe, like with her conservatorship or whatever the hell that was called. King of Swords can also be a card of legalities. So it could be something legal or a contract that someone's finally getting out of, and it feels very empowering, honestly. Like that was the first hit I got when I put these down, was just like empowerment, like somebody taking control of like their mind. Super creepy. I don't know what that means, but absolutely beyond that, like taking control of your destiny, deciding the World. The World is often a card to me of knowing where you belong, knowing where you fit in, right? Having your community, having everything you need, everything you want. I mean, the World is one of the best cards to me in the entire deck. So making a decision about what that looks like. It was kind of like what I was talking about in that message, in the conversation that I was having with a year and a half ago guy. Like, what do you want? Where do you want to be? Take control of your life. Take control of your mind. But I'm super dramatic. So this, for somebody, could just be a decision to move, or a decision to end something. Once again, Eight of Cups, the moon, right? So there could have been some confusion. Sorry about my voice. Could have been some confusion surrounding this, some fear around this, but I feel like King of Swords coming in, making the decision, super, like, I don't know, like super sexy, confident, decisive energy, right? Like, I love this. So I do feel like regardless of what is happening here in the emotions, the moon and the Eight of Cups, and this fear and indecision and the murky unknown, whatever, I do feel like there is a decision being made here. For some of you, as this just came in, for some of you with the moon and the Eight of Cups, you could be feeling intuitively the energy of someone coming back. And if you do feel that, if you feel intuitively, and I hate to say this, I hate this stuff so much, like all this, like this twin flame hype. I'm just going to go off on a tangent for 1 second. Like all this twin flame, I can't even say it. Whatever, all this weird, obsessive, runner chaser stuff, I hate it so much. I feel like it's very unhealthy. I don't even really subscribe to twin flame because I think it's so unhealthy. Like I just saw today, I don't know if this is relevant, but I'm going to say it anyway. Shortly before I came back here to do this, I just saw this woman, I think it was a woman. Yeah, it was a woman. In this forum that I belong to, whatever, it's like a metaphysical, psychic mediumship group, whatever. And the funny thing is that like 80% of the stuff that people want to talk about are twin flames, right? I mean, it's the same with YouTube. And she's telling this story, asking for advice, and within the advice, she flat out says that this guy, her twin flame, took out a restraining order against her. And I mean, you don't need advice. You don't need advice on what to do about this person if they take out a restraining order against you. Okay. But let's be real. This could be a very deep soul connection where you can feel this person's energy. That's 100% real. I believe it. You could be feeling them coming back. I hate to say that, but it could be, okay? In the past, we have the Three of Wands with the Ten of Wands with the Five of Wands in reverse. This, to me, in this particular deck, feels like waiting. I feel very impatient, actually, which is interesting to note. But given the imagery of these cards, Five of Wands in reverse, upright, this is a beaver building a dam, okay? Water and tarot is emotions. I feel like there was somebody trying unsuccessfully to block their emotions, you or someone else. Ten of Wands, some sort of burden here. To me, I don't know what's happening in this picture, but it looks like two fish being separated by some sort of divide here. So some sort of separation. And Three of Wands. Waiting. There are two birds on this card. One is sitting, waiting. The other one is flying in with what looks like a wand, okay? So, simply put, I feel like you are waiting for someone to crack, basically. I think you were waiting in separation, probably, for someone to crack, for someone to break under the pressure of trying to push down their emotions, right? So, that's what I'm feeling on this. Just give me a minute to think. I mean, it might not be a person. Okay, it might not be a person. But it could be you. Okay, this could all be you. Could all be you breaking under the pressure of keeping your emotions in check, I feel. Either way, I feel like that cycle's been closed out. You gave up, or you stopped waiting, or you stopped trying to hold back your emotions. You stopped trying to fight like a senseless battle, something. I mean, this beaver, he's got 5 wands, so like basically 5 sticks, and there's these like roaring waves. Like there's no way he's gonna stop that water, right? But it's in reverse, so maybe take it how it resonates. But I do think there's something also to be said there for the potential that some of you are waiting on someone who didn't actually have the tools it took for whatever it was that you were waiting on. It doesn't have to be a relationship, but I do feel like maybe you were waiting on something that couldn't really happen because somebody just wasn't equipped to compete, to fight, to, I don't want to say fight necessarily, but, you know, someone didn't have the stamina. Okay, I don't know what that means, but let's move on. It's the past. I don't like to dwell on the past too much, but that's where we're coming from. Current energy, and this is where I'm going to start clarifying. Current energy is the 8 of Pentacles. I feel that this is probably, you know, giving up on waiting. You're focused on work. It could be somebody, if this is somebody returning, they are trying, they're coming in trying to rebuild their reputation with you. Yeah, 9 of Swords. Okay, so for some of you, ooh, I found a card on the floor. I love when that happens. For some of you, ugh, this is someone very stressed out about their reputation, whatever happened here, and trying to rebuild it. For others of you, you are avoiding your own anxiety by throwing yourself into work, or you're trying to build up your bank account, trying to maybe even build up your reputation at work or climb the ladder at work. You're very focused on money or your status or, you know, your job as a coping mechanism for some sort of fear. And if we're talking about parenthood, and the potential for that, I mean, that's definitely something that can push, especially a masculine energy. But I mean, it doesn't have to be, obviously. But that is the kind of stereotypical masculine response to parenthood, right? Like, oh my God, I need money, I need whatever, you know, I gotta get my shit together. 6 of Wands, yeah. Yeah. Building up your reputation. So I do feel like whatever the situation is, that's what's going on here. Even if you're just nose to the grindstone, focused on building up, you know, your money, yeah, 4 coins. That is what's going on here. Okay, but in the near future, okay, we have the Hermit sideways. The Hermit's coming out twice here. We have Pisces energy, fixed energy, so Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio. We have Virgo twice now. Gemini is over here. Aries. Scorpio, Aries. So anyway, what was I saying? In the near future, I don't know why I was shuffling. In the near future, I don't really need to. 7 of Pentacles, okay? So we're going backwards, but I think there's a reason for that. I feel like the 7 of Pentacles is a pause, and I feel like, okay, slow down. For some of you, if you've been very focused on work, if you've been very focused on something other than love, other than that, you know, sort of home base energy of family, love, partnerships, if you've been focused somewhere else, I feel like in the future, 7 of Pentacles, there is now a pause, and you're deciding where to invest your energy in that realm, right? You're deciding what your future looks like. Wheel of Fortune. and what's next for you. So you're sort of evaluating, Seven of Pentacles, how to go about things going forward. For others of you, if this is a returner situation, whether that be you returning or someone else returning, I feel like this is somebody legit. I feel like it's legit. Seven of Pentacles, they're willing to invest. They want to change things. Wheel of Fortune's a card of change. Seven of Pentacles is a card of change. The Lovers is a choice. It's a soulmate card. Blah, blah, blah. Right? So they legitimately, I feel, or you, take it however, want to change things, want to do things differently, want to make the right choices. Wheel of Fortune. I mean, this is a card of, luck, turning things in your favor. It's a very good, auspicious card. So this is the goal. We're making decisions, how to change it, how to move forward, how to move things in our favor toward prosperity and abundance, right? So it's very good energy. And I feel like it's separate. I don't think we're going backwards. That's my point. From the Eight of Pentacles to the Seven. At first sight, it does look that way. But it doesn't matter because you do have to do that from time to time. I don't want to get off on another tangent because we're coming up on an hour. But even if you are focused on one goal and one goal only, you do need to bring your head up from time to time and reevaluate what you're doing, your approach, look it over, take things in, tweak it, right? You need to make decisions. You can't just bulldoze everything forevermore, okay? So I'm going to get one more card on how you're being viewed by the outside world or this other person. Okay. This could definitely be twin flame shit for some of you. I'm sorry. I'm so disrespectful. It's that Aries Mercury. This could definitely be twin flame for some of you, okay? Four of Wands. But came out sideways. This person seeing you as Eight of Cups sideways. Something they might have lost. King of Cups reversed with the Ten of Cups reversed. Immediately when these came out, once again, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to my device, why that didn't record. But immediately when I put these down, I was like, okay, so this person feels like you are an opportunity for their happiness. You're someone who loved them, someone who cared about them, someone who would have, just been a really solid investment, a really solid choice in love that could have given them a happy family, emotional fulfillment. Four of Wands is sideways. So it's basically, to me, this is feeling like a missed opportunity. Somebody, I mean, you could be with somebody else, for all I know, Four of Wands sideways. Or maybe they think you might be with someone else, right? So I do think they're seeing you as a missed opportunity. And for some of you, I mean, obviously that's not for everyone, because I do feel like there is some other things going on here. Some of you are leaving. Some of you are being left. I'm sorry. That's probably the case, that some of you are going through a separation or a divorce. And if that's the case, then this person's seeing you as somebody who maybe is manipulative, abusive, possibly a drinking problem. I don't know. It doesn't mean it's true, okay? It doesn't mean that any of this is true. This is how they're seeing you, right? So they see you as someone who basically is, they're holding you responsible for breaking up their idea of a happy family. I hate to say this because it feels so bad, but they're blaming you, all right? And Four of Wands reverse, exactly. You've turned their world upside down. You've messed up their sense of stability. Whether you did or not, whether it's your fault or not, I don't know. But they're seeing it this way, if that's the case, if you're going through a breakup, right? So let's move on. It doesn't really matter. This is just perception. If that's the case, though, if you're going through a breakup, and if, you know, if that, then this person is seeing you this way, that's because they're the Hermit in reverse, which to me, initially, with this energy that I just described to you, tells me that this person has not learned their lesson. They haven't done any work. They're not coming from a place of wisdom. So, I mean, they're probably wrong about you, right? It's not your fault. You're not the reason for all their problems. Trust me, I've been there. So they're not coming from a place of wisdom. They don't know what they're talking about. They haven't done the work. And period. They're just pissed off about, you know, maybe, I don't know, being rejected, or, you know, there's the disappointment of the ending, the Tower, the upheaval of it all, the divorce, if that's what this is, and they're just trying to grasp for some sort of control in the midst of chaos. All right? It's just, I mean, it's projection. It's projection is what it is, okay? So that is for you if you are going through some sort of dramatic breakup, okay? If you're not, and if this is somebody returning, right, then I still have the Hermit in reverse, which makes me wonder if this person has actually learned their lesson or not. So I clarified, I got a bunch of cards. I don't remember exactly what happened here. But, okay, if this is a person returning, I feel like you're mirroring each other. If you're in twin flame situation, you probably are. So I feel like they're afraid that you're walking away, all right? They're afraid that they're going to miss an opportunity, or they know that they did already. 10 of Swords. They don't want to see that happen. The Tower. Shit. What do I do? King of Swords again. Emperor. Okay? So they are communicating, I feel, with the Hermit in reverse and the King of Swords coming out. I feel like that's like communication. It might not be from a very composed place, okay? They might be coming from a place of fear, from a place of disaster management, I'm hearing. So it's, yeah, it's just grasping for control. It's struggling to, you know, last minute, which I love. Let me just tell you about that. No, don't get me started. We don't have time for another relationship story. But yeah, I feel like this is someone like last minute, oh shit, and this is probably after a separation, right? Hermit, this 10 of Wands card that makes me feel like there's this separation. So I feel like this is disaster management, whatever that means. Damage control, right? And that's what I have to say about that. I mean, that's basically it. There's a lot going on, though. I guess that's important to know. There's a lot going on here. This person might not have actually learned their lesson. I think they might just be coming from a place of fear, of now the time is now. Like, they don't have any more time to waste. Ooh, I just got chills. This 10 of Swords. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Guys, I got chills. 10 of Swords. He has a clock. The Tower. The clock looks broken to me. Does it not? You can't make this shit up. 4 of Cups. There's a clock up top here. See that on the cup? And they're watching the clock. They're watching the clock. This person's watching the clock. They're realizing they don't have any time left, or they might not have any time left. And I feel like it's an oh shit moment for this person. Now, I don't know what to say if you're dealing with any other situation, but I mean, you should know that this, most importantly, that this person might be coming out of like only half learning the lesson, or not at all. Okay? They're not coming from a place of wisdom. They're coming from a place of damage control, of oh shit. Okay? Because they feel like they're missing out on something, probably. Okay, let's move on. This is the part I like. I am going to clarify just a little bit more. The advice for you is the Four of Wands. So once again, it's a card of partnership for me, but it's also a part of following your bliss. And the Magician clarified that already. Follow your bliss. I'm not going to dissect the imagery on this card, but it's giving me that now. The time is now vibes again. So, Magician, manifestation, Four of Wands. To me, this is call in your bliss. Magician, you have everything you need. If this is about becoming a parent, and if you don't have anyone necessarily to do that with, to partner in that with you, you can do it yourself. You can do it yourself. I do it myself. I've done it myself the vast majority of the past almost 13 years, okay? You can 100% do it for yourself. You just have to prioritize. You have to prioritize. You have to be able to delete anything that is not serving, Eight of Cups, that is not serving your goal, that's not supporting you, that's not providing for you energetically, materially, whatever the case may be. You got to be a real cutthroat. You can't be people pleasing. You can't be people pleasing. You can't be please like me, everybody. No, because once you become a parent, it's not about you. Yes, of course, you can take care of yourself still, and put yourself first, and that is important. That is important. You don't want your children to see you not taking care of yourself. That's not setting a good example. But it's not about other people anymore. Okay, so it is the World, Wheel of Fortune, a whole new cycle of life. So you have everything you need. Magician, you can do this. You can be stable. Four of Wands, if this is a question of just manifesting stability, a house, something, something less dramatic and extreme from, parenthood, you can do that as well. You have everything you need. You just need to be resourceful. You need to take an honest inventory of what you have available to you. Use your mind. It's coming out really strongly here, King of Swords twice. So you can figure this out. You can overpower whatever this is. Okay? Four of Wands. I mean, like I said, it can be, to me, like about in this position as advice, following your bliss, but it can also be just, celebrating, homecoming, finding where finding a home where you belong, finding your place in the world, like the world is similar. And yeah, stability, a foundation, a partnership. It can also be engagement. So if any of you are questioning whether or not you should propose, this is a yes. Magician, Four of Wands. You have everything it takes. I think it'll be a good outcome, okay? And similar to what I was just saying, the outcome, most likely outcome, and it's not going to sound good to you if you know tarot. This is not going to sound good to you at first. Disclaimer. But I'm going to explain to you what I think this means. In this particular card, this is how I see it. So I got the Seven of Cups with the Eight of Swords. Okay? Now, in this particular Seven of Cups, we have, interestingly enough, stuff that I've never looked at before, but it's a very sweet, dreamy energy. And once again, I can't help but see there's a bunny here. Makes me think of fertility. So we have like a lion, we have a key, we have a heart, we have, I don't know what these other things are, but it's like constellations in the sky. I mean, it's kind of making me emotional actually. And the moon is in one of those cups, okay? The moon is in one of those cups. And then the clarifier is the Eight of Swords. You see that moon in the center? And I think there's actually an eagle, or not an eagle, an owl here. You just can't really see them very well because they're faint, because they're supposed to be constellations. It doesn't matter. These owls, these 3 owls are protecting this moon. To me, this is what it looks like. It looks like a nest. It looks like protection. And once again, the bunny's here. That moon is in this picture, in this cup. I definitely feel like this could be something about parenthood for some of you. And my point is, the way I'm seeing these 2 cards put together, 7 of Cups with the 8 of Swords, it's just what I said, which is amazing. 8 of Swords, insulating yourself, 7 of Cups, from all the distractions. That's exactly what, one, if you're following your bliss, like I just told you to do, and that's the advice that Spirit's giving you, if you follow your bliss, you'll automatically be in that energy because you'll automatically be focused on that and you will be in alignment. So by default, you are protected and shielded from the chaos, from the confusion, from the distractions. But if you need a reminder, 8 of Swords, 7 of Cups, you need to block out all the distractions. So this is like, to me, an end of being overwhelmed, an end of being indecisive, and it's choosing to focus on that one option, choosing to insulate and nurture the moon, which we have right here in the center in the crossing energy, okay? So some of you could definitely be dealing with a Pisces or a Cancer, or this is you. Choosing to insulate yourself, your heart, your emotions from all the chaos, from all the drama, whatever the 7 of Cups is. I'm going to clarify this, okay? Can you give me one more, please, on the 7 of Cups? Nine of Wands. Exactly. What did I just say? 9 of Wands. Defenses. Barriers. Like insulation. It's like protection. 9 of Wands is like a protective. What's 8? Swords. The Lovers. What'd I tell you? And the 5 of Swords. The Moon and the Empress. Come on now. The Empress. The Moon. It's definitely something here about fertility and abundance, motherhood. 6 of Wands. 5 of Swords. Once again, this gives me a weird protective vibe, okay? None of the cards in tarot are always bad. It's largely dependent upon the imagery sometimes. Okay, so 7 of Cups, 9 of Wands, right? Indecision and too many options. I mean, I'm speaking from personal opinion here as well. Having too many options, having too many things going on is exhausting, and it is not any type of way to build a life, to manifest, to figure out what you want, to take any kind of action. Once again, like I said, 8 of Swords, 9 of Wands. It's like creating a barrier around yourself from whatever that is for you. Whatever that is that's overwhelming, whether it's fear, whether it's distractions, whether it's unimportant, like I was saying, you have to delete certain things from your life if you really want to be serious about your life. Not every little thing can be an emergency. Not every little person's problem can be important to you. It just can't. It can't. That's how you end up exhausted. That's how you end up like that. And once again, the Lovers. This is making a choice, like I said, to go in alignment with your bliss, with your calling, with your life path as you see it, choosing your destiny. And this could be about insulating your relationship, whether that be with another person, or have the Moon and the Empress at the bottom of the deck. So it could be about protecting your child, protecting a pregnancy, or take it how it resonates, right? But you're protecting something sacred here. It's exactly what I felt off that Eight of Swords. Protecting something sacred. The Moon is sacred. And in order to do that, you have to insulate it from these other things that are overwhelming, that are distracting. Five of Swords, well, to me, first of all, I feel like this is a strange protective vibe here as well. She's leaving the Three Swords, which is heartbreak or a breakup. I'm not going to say that. But something sad, okay, that hurt you and broke your heart. You're leaving that out in the rain. You're leaving that for the lightning to destroy. You're taking the Two Swords, which is a decision. And look how she's hugging them and protecting them, see? It's this weird protective energy. I don't know what it is, but you need to protect whatever it is you care about. And if you just follow your bliss, know that you have everything it takes to be stable, to be happy, whatever this is for you. Whatever your bliss is for you, you have what it takes to get there. And it will take you to a place where you, your loved ones, whatever it is that needs protecting, that is sacred to you, is insulated. The Five of Swords is also about being selfish, taking a risk, being determined to win. And I feel like sometimes that's where you need to be. You need to be a little selfish. You need to say, fuck you, fuck you. This is not in alignment with me. This is not supporting my vision for my life, things that matter to me. You are actually sabotaging me, and you need to back the fuck up. I don't know what that's about, but if you need that, borrow my words, okay? It's just what you need to do sometimes. King of Coin. Focus on what's important. Focus on what's permanent in your life. Focus on what is permanent, not temporary distractions, okay? Not anything that's leaving you or has left you is irreparable. King of Coin. Absolutely. It's about longevity in the future and protecting that because it is sacred. That's what I have for you guys. Thanks for hanging out this long if you did, and I will see you next time.